Hey there and welcome. Have you ever noticed that the things we're supposed to do for fun can start to feel like, well, just another chore? Today we're going to dive into how we can rethink our relationship with hobbies so they actually bring us joy again instead of just adding to our to-do list. So, let me ask you something straight up. Do your hobbies, the things you chose for fun, ever end up stressing you out or maybe making you feel a little guilty? If you're nodding along, trust me, you are not the only one.
Yeah, this quote from Vanilla Papers just hits the nail on the head, right? I once had a basket filled with blue yarn, but that quiet night never happened. Oof, we've all been there. It's this thing you could call hobby guilt, that basket of yarn. Or maybe for you, it's a half-finished painting. It stops being this exciting possibility and starts feeling like this monument to how busy we are. It just turns fun into a burden.
And look, it is so important to get this. That feeling, it's not some personal failure on your part. Not at all. We're living in a world, especially if you're in a city, that's kind of designed to make us feel stressed out. It makes finding that real, genuine downtime incredibly hard.
And this isn't just a vibe, There's actual data here. Research from the Center for Urban Design and Mental Health shows that folks living in cities have almost a 40% higher risk of depression and a 20% higher risk of anxiety. So that feeling of being totally overwhelmed, it's not just in your head. It's a real, documented part of modern life.
Okay, so what do we do about it? If our world is basically built for stress, maybe we need to find a new way to build joy. And spoiler alert, it's not about magically finding more hours in the day. Nope, it's about a total shift in how we think. And the secret? It's a cool psychological idea called flow.
This is the big idea right here. What if the goal of your hobby wasn't about the finished product, knitting the perfect sweater or whatever? What if the real goal was the feeling you get while you're doing it? What if it's all about the experience, not the outcome?
And that's where we get to the official definition of flow. It's a concept from a psychologist named, and I'm going to do my best here, Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. And flow is that amazing mental state where you are just completely lost in what you're doing. Time just kind of melts away, you're totally focused, and the activity itself is the reward. You've probably heard it called being in the zone.
So how do we find this magical zone? Well, the research says there are basically 3 key ingredients. First, you need clear goals. You got to know what you're trying to do. Second, you need immediate feedback so you can see how it's going. And third, and this one is absolutely crucial, you need that perfect sweet spot. That balance between how challenging the thing is and how skilled you are at it.
Let's actually look at what that balance means. If something is way too hard for your skill level, you're just going to feel anxious, right? But if it's way too easy, you'll be bored out of your mind. And if both are low, sure, you might be relaxed, but you're not really in it. The magic, the flow zone, happens in that top right corner, where a high challenge meets your high skill level. That's the sweet spot. All right, so we know where we want to go. The flow zone. Awesome. But knowing the destination is one thing. You still need a map to get there, especially when life feels so packed. And that map, believe it or not, is all about less is more. It's about bringing a little minimalism into our fun time.
I love this quote from Karen Trevsier. It just nails it. Be a hobbyist, not a collector. Think about that. Are we actually doing the hobby? Or are we just collecting all the stuff for it? So many of us get trapped in buying the gear, the cool pens, the fancy yarn, but then never actually use it. The real shift is focusing on getting skills, not just supplies.
Let's really break that down. The collector versus the hobbyist. The collector mindset. That's all about the quick thrill of buying new stuff. And yeah, it feels good for a second, but it's what leads to those piles of unused things and that guilt we were talking about. But the hobbyist mindset, that's totally different. It's about putting in the time. It's harder, no doubt, but that's how you build skill, find that challenge skill sweet spot, and get that deep, lasting satisfaction of flow. So how do you actually make that shift? Well, here's a super practical plan you can try. Step 1, just brain dump. Write down every single thing you're even remotely interested in. Step 2, and this is the tough one, you gotta be ruthless. Pick just 2 or 3, the ones that really, truly light you up. Then, step 3 is huge. Make space. Actually let go of the other stuff. Donate the supplies. 4, treat your hobby like it matters. Schedule it. Put it in your calendar. And finally, number 5, start ridiculously small. We're talking 1 chapter, 1 row of knitting, 1 little sketch. Remember, the goal isn't to finish something, it's just to start.
Okay, let's take that big strategy and shrink it down into something you can do every single day.
If decluttering our hobbies is like setting the stage, this next part is the main act. We're going to call it the 5-minute hobby. It's all about finding joy in those teeny tiny pockets of time that we all have.
This comment from a user on Reddit. Wow, is this relatable or what? I often have random pockets of a few minutes that I often waste by looking at my phone. I would love to change this useless habit. I mean, who doesn't feel that? We all have those moments, right? Waiting for coffee, on the bus, and our default is just to pull out the phone and start scrolling. What if we could take those moments back?
And that is exactly where the idea of a micro hobby comes into play. What is it? It's just an activity that's perfect for those short, often interrupted bits of time. It takes almost no setup, and you can pick it up and put it down without losing your place. It is the perfect cure for mindless scrolling. And if you're wondering what that even looks like, here's a bunch of great ideas. A lot of them straight from that Reddit thread. You could learn to tie one knot with a shoelace you have lying around. Doodle in a tiny pocket sketchbook. Just knit one single row. Or how about this one? Just read a random Wikipedia article. Every single one of these is a small win, a tiny step toward being a hobbyist instead of just a collector of good intentions.
You know, when you really think about it, this whole practice ties right back to where we started, the stress of modern life. These little micro hobbies, they're really a form of mindfulness. They're a way to ground ourselves in the present moment, to find a tiny little island of calm, even when you're in the middle of a chaotic city.
And hey, you can practice this without any stuff at all. Here's a super simple technique you can do literally anywhere, on a crowded train, walking down the street. Just gaze at one single point. Then, tune into your senses. What do you hear? What do you feel? What do you smell? No judgment. Then, focus on your breathing, in through the nose, out through the mouth. And when your mind starts to wander, because it will, just gently bring it back. That's it. You're actively practicing the focus that you need for flow.
So, let's wrap this all up. If there's only one thing you take away from all this, please let it be this. A hobby is not another chore. It is not supposed to be on your to-do list. It's not about being productive or making something perfect.
Instead, think of your hobby as a tool. It's a way for you to find these little, repeatable moments of joy and focus, those moments of flow. It's about taking back those little pockets of time for yourself and, in the process, fighting back against the stress of our crazy, busy world.
So I want to leave you with one final question. For just a minute, forget about the big, grand projects. Just think about today, right now. What is one tiny 5-minute thing you can do to find a moment of flow, a moment of focus, just for you?